Here we go. It is time. 149th running of the Belmont. Greg Wolf, Gabby Gaudet, Andy Serling here to talk you through this field coming up. And we know one thing's for sure. We're going to have a new winner of a Triple Crown race in here. The Derby winner is not here. The Preakness winner not here. But a wide open field. Irish War Cry leading the group. And horses kind of been up and down for Graham Motion.
That's kind of been the Triple Crown season, really. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, horses going in and out of form, and Irish War Cry is definitely the horse to beat, Andy, especially with some of the defections that we had coming into this week.
And I feel like Graham Motion is on a free roll after his long shot Ascend was an upset winner of Manhattan, and congratulations to him for that win. Irish War Cry has pluses and minuses, as all horses do. The negatives are, number one, he's the shortest price, relatively speaking. And he's had very good trips when he's run well. He set a moderate pace in Florida when he won the Holy Bull, and he was on a very speed-conducive track at Aqueduct when he did that. Now, in the race in the Derby, he chased wide against a very strong rail, so he has an excuse. The good Irish War Cry is the best horse in this race based on his past accomplishment. Is he going to be the best horse in a mile and a half, though?
That remains the question. Even Graham Motion has said he doesn't know. I don't think any of these trainers know which horse will get the distance in this race for Todd Pletcher. He has two coming back from the Kentucky Derby. Tapwrit is one of them, a horse who had a lot of trouble at the beginning of the Kentucky Derby.
If you go back and watch the Kentucky Derby, I think you have to watch the Kentucky Derby probably about 1,000 times in order to work out some of the trouble trips in there, because Irish War Cry, in my opinion, I thought he actually got a decent trip. I know he was wide against a good rail day, but still, considering the amount of trouble that other horses had, including Tapwrit, I have to go towards some of these alternatives. And you're talking about pedigree. I think Tapwrit has a very promising pedigree to get the mile and a half. He is coming out of two trouble trips, both in the Derby and the Bluegrass. He just hasn't been being able to get out of the gate very well lately.
I'm not going to bore the fans with an esoteric discussion of trip handicapping, but suffice to say I couldn't possibly disagree with you more. I think trouble is overrated in races, and it's hard to see the star of that race because they switched to so many idiotic angles you couldn't really find a replay to watch. But Tapwrit was bothered at the start, and that was legit. I think the biggest problem was it put him into a position that he was farther back than he should have been. But when he really did his running in that race, he was right on the rail in the stretch. And the rail was a conveyor belt. And it was carrying Looking at along, the winner along, and it was carrying him along. And look at how those two horses did in their subsequent start in the Preakness. So he was benefiting from that. He had some pluses and some minuses. As you say, I agree that he has the pedigree to handle it. He doesn't have any particularly good races, and he's 5-1 in this race. Do I think he's a contender? Absolutely. He's my third or fourth choice in here, my fourth choice. But I don't think he's any bargain at 5-1, and I don't think you disagree with that, Gabby.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I don't think he's a bargain at 5-1 by any means. I think he's a bad price right there. I think that there's definitely alternatives. So this is a hard race this year to have a strong opinion on, though.
Well, here is Gormley. He's right on his 8-1 morning line. He's a horse who's always been very fast out of the gate. John Sheriff's said they wanted to try and get him to rate to harness that speed because he's better when he runs from off the pace, and that's what he did in the Santa Anita Derby.
He had a sneaky trouble trip in the Kentucky Derby, and I think a lot of people have overlooked that. For starters, it was pretty much impossible given his post position. He was widest of all going into the first turn. He was wide pretty much throughout the entire running of the Kentucky Derby, and yes, he completely stopped after chasing wide. What I like about Gormley, that I've seen a development in him from his first couple of races until now, he's started to harness his speed, and I think that is going to be a very important attribute in the running of the Belmont.
I can't see Trackus for Churchill, but I'd bet a lot of money he ran the most distance of anybody in there. And if you think that Irish War Cry, as I do, is against the track, and you believe the rail was gold, he was badly compromised. And he ran a remarkable race. And I agree with you, Gabby, and I'm with you on this horse. It's my second choice, your top choice. He was 5 or wide the whole way around the track, and he was running. He never really quit. He was eased at the end, so he could have finished 2 or 3 lengths ahead. He would have finished 7th if his rider hadn't eased him for whatever that's worth. And the question is, how good is he really? Now, how good is anybody? And I have serious questions about him at a mile and a half. If I was comfortable with him getting a mile and a half, I would absolutely love him in this race.
Does anybody really want to get a mile and a half?
No, I don't know. Well, they all want to get it. Just the question how quickly.
The key with him, and that's what I bring up the point of harnessing his speed. He used to kind of run off in the afternoons in some of his earlier races, and that is the only way that he's going to potentially win this race if he settles, really.
He's going to sit second or third in here. I'm okay with that. We'll see how fast they're going. Looking at Lee, hopes they're going fast, right, Greg?
Oh, he would love them to be going fast, much like Creator last year for Steve Asmussen. He has a similar running style. The only horse in this field, Gabby, who will run in all 3 legs of the Triple Crown, and Steve Asmussen says he's completely spoiled the barn with the way that he bounces back out of his races.
I know a lot of people like this horse, and you have to give credit to him. You know, he's danced the dances in the Derby and the Preakness, but as we were mentioning, he completely rode the bias in the Kentucky Derby. It was a brilliant ride by Corey Lannery. An okay performance in the Preakness. He's just going to need a lot to go his way. And honestly, Andy, in the Belmont, if you look at really the past 5 or 6 runnings of the Belmont, you want a horse that has a little bit of tactical speed. You want a horse that's either on the lead or just off the lead at the quarter pole. I don't see him being that case.
He's a cinch because Gabby and I completely agree. There's nothing she said I don't agree with. He's a neat horse, but I don't want him in here, especially 5-1.
Meanwhile, J-Boy's Echo, the 4, he beats Cloud Computing, who would go on to win the Preakness in the Gotham, and he's reunited with his rider, Robbie Alvarado, who had been out since April 23rd with a leg fracture.
I know you like this horse, and I'll let you get into him a little bit more, Andy, but J-Boy's Echo, you know, I know people will go back to the Gotham and say, yes, he beat Cloud Computing in there. Cloud Computing obviously coming back to win the Preakness, but he got the perfect setup, whereas Cloud Computing was totally against the pace scenario in that race. And in the Bluegrass, honestly, J-Boy's Echo, I thought was a little bit exposed because of the pace scenario in there. I'm not a big fan of him.
He's a bit of a shot for me. What he does have is the fastest buyer speed figure of anybody in this field, and he's one of 2 horses run triple-digit buyers. So he's got that. You're 100% right about his Gotham. He got a perfect trip. He rode a gold rail until he angled out late. He had the Abel Tasman trip, thankfully, to win that race. But he still ran the fast race. I would say his Bluegrass excuse, and I'm not, you know, I'm with you that it's a little bit shaky. It was a merry-go-round race. Nobody getting around. And he took the worst of it getting shuffled out of position. He was eliminated in the Kentucky Derby, taken out of the race, and I don't think he handled the track at all. It's a bit of a shot in a race where it's just confusing, and I'm going to take a shot with him. I think there are things to like about him, but there are certainly questions as well.
He's 10-1. A lot of people will probably think that he's a little bit of a closer. I think he's more tactical than a horse like Looking at Lee. He's not impossible.
For more from the paddock, let's go to Maggie and the Mig.
Thank you, guys. Grade 1 Belmont here, and we'll take a look at as many horses as we can, which we have a minute to. Number 7 is Irish War Cry here, likely to be one of the favorites. I like what I see. Any excuse for you, Meg?
No, he's carrying good weight. I like what I see. And, you know, he's going to get the right kind of trip, Maggie. He's going to put himself in a good position.
Exactly. As we take a look to his inside with number 6, Looking at Lee. Talking about position, this guy's going to need things to fall apart. He'll be running at the end. He looks fantastic, though, for Steve Asmussen.
I'm taken with how he looks. He actually won me over. He looks so good physically. He's fit. His coat is terrific, and I love his energy level.
Considering he's running all 3 of the Triple Crown races, you couldn't ask a horse to look better. And as Steve Asmussen pointed out, he is more of a man. He's a kind of a war horse of an individual. Next, we'll take a look at number 8, Senior Investment. I know you like this guy. He was saddled in the back away from the crowds.
Yeah, I mean, and I heard he came a little bit unglued at Pimlico in the Preakness, so hopefully he holds it together. We're going to see more as he gets around this bigger crowd. The paddock's very full here. But this horse looked good all week training, and I like the way he looks coming into this. I think he's carrying the right kind of weight, and maybe he can lay a little bit closer than he has in some of his past races.
He's a striking individual, but he is by Discreetly Mine, not necessarily screaming 1.5 miles, but he is definitely revved up too. We'll see if he is closer as we will send it over to Andy Grammer, who have the call for Riders Up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the paddock and multi-platinum selling pop artist, songwriter, and producer Andy Grammer.
I am super excited to be here at the 149th Belmont Stakes. So ladies and gentlemen, riders up!
Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Racing Association proudly presents the 149th running of the Belmont Stakes as we welcome the horses on the track with Frank Sinatra's timeless classic, New York, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the field for the 149th Belmont Stakes. Number 1 is Twisted Tom, owned by Cobra Farm, our partners and Head of Plains partners, trained by Chad Brown with Javier Castellano. Number 2 is Tapwrit, owned by Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, Robert LaPenta and Bridlewood Farm. Trained by Todd Pletcher with Jose Ortiz. Number 3 is Gormley, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Jerome S. Moss, trained by John Sheriffs. The jockey is Victor Espinoza. Number 4 is J. Boys Echo, owned by Alba Family Stable and Bobby Flay, trained by Dale Romans. Robbie Alvarado is the jockey. Number 5 is Hollywood Handsome, owned by Mark and Nancy Stanley, trained by Dallas Stewart with Florent Giroux. Number 6, Lookin' at Lee, owned by L&N Racing, trained by Steve Asmussen. The jockey is Irad Ortiz Jr. Number 7 is Irish Warcry, owned by Isabel Haskell de Tomaso, trained by Graham Motion, the jockey Rajiv Mirage. Number 8, Senior Investment, owned by Fern Circle Stables, trained by Ken McPeak with Channing Hill. Number 9 is Meantime, owned by Silverton Hill Farm, trained by Brian Lynch and ridden by Mike Smith. Number 10, Multiplier, is owned by Wachtell Stable, Gary Barber and George Kerr, trained by Brendan Walsh with Joel Rosario. And number 12 is Patch, owned by Calumet Farm, trained by Todd Pletcher, the jockey John Velasquez. That is the field for the 149th running of the Belmont Stakes, presented by Naira Bets. There's Exacta, Trifecta, Superfecta, Pick 3 and double wagering. Scratch number 11 at Picaris. Quarter-inch bends 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And 6 minutes to post.
Welcome back to the Belmont Stakes. The crowd getting revved up here, Richie, as the starting gate and the field go by.
Yeah, the field already kind of dispersed, went up the stretch to warm up. The gate just got pulled past us. They'll put that in place, but the crowd is ready to get it on.
They are. It's going to be an exciting one here for this running of the Belmont Stakes, the 149th running to be exact. And, you know, Mig, there's a lot of excitement, as we are alluding to, and pretty much everybody, every horse, I should say, has handled it well, except one. That was number 9, Meantime.
Yeah, number 9, Meantime, got a little bit hot. He's a little bit worked up with the crowd. He is by Shackelford. Now, Shackelford, you know, had the propensity to be that way as well. Now, this horse in the morning has been very strong. And I can't imagine the way he's acting, he's not going to be a little bit keen with Mike Smith.
Right. A mile and a half with that kind of disposition is never quite a good mix-up here. So he's gotten hot in the past, so it's not completely out of character. It just doesn't bode well for the mile and a half. Now, a horse that I think should be capable of getting is number 2, Tapwrit, one of a couple of Todd Pletcher horses in here. Now, he did not get the best of starts in the Kentucky Derby, but after that, Jose Ortiz gave him an excellent ride, I thought. But looking at his physical makeup, what did you think about him, the mile and a half distance?
Well, I think he's got a body type and a stride that says a mile and a half. And I love how he was handling everything, very laid back about it all.
Yep.
And, you know, when a couple other horses were starting to bounce around him, he just kind of walked like, no problem, I got this. And I like that for a mile and a half. To stay a mile and a half, a horse cannot pull. He cannot get keen.
His sire Tapwrit looking to capture 3 of the last 4 runnings of the Belmont Stakes with Tonalist and Creator, last year's winner. See if that streak continues. As we'll take a look at number 4, J Boys Echo. Now, Dale Romans, I think, has a streak of running 3rd in the Belmont Stakes for like the last 4 times that he's tried it. And J Boys Echo, to me, gets the most improved award. He has filled out so much since his Gotham win.
Yeah, and that's all I have to go by, what he looked like Gotham Day. And he's a much stronger horse, filled out a lot behind. You know, when a horse fills into their frame, all those little hollowed out spots kind of disappear and they muscle up. Well, he's definitely grown up a great deal since the Gotham.
He has, and really I'm not sure about the mile-and-a-half distance for him, but I cannot ignore the vast physical improvement with him. As we'll check in with the other Todd Pletcher horse, that's number 12, Patch. I'm sure a bit of a sentimental pick for a lot of people rooting for the one-eyed wonder here. And Patch, though, to me, I mean, you look at that pedigree, he's out of a Belmont, or by a Belmont winner, out of a Dam, who is by a Belmont winner in AP Indy.
Yeah, a lot of pedigree in that pedigree for sure. I wish he didn't have the outside post. It always seems like he gets kind of stranded out there, and he has the one eye, although he seems to handle it extremely well for a horse that lost his eye late in life.
And I've been around several one-eyed horses, and they are almost that much smarter because they compensate in other areas, and I don't think it affects Patch whatsoever. I do agree that the outside post is not ideal for him, but physically, he certainly looks like a horse for this mile-and-a-half.
Well, Johnny Velasquez left the pony, warmed him up well without the pony. It leads me to believe that Johnny wants to get some position with him, maybe not get caught out too wide on the first turn. Not that he wants to be a part of the pace, maybe he just doesn't want him to lag early.
Exactly, so we'll see. It's a bit of a run into that first turn here in the mile-and-a-half Belmont. Mig, who's your pick?
Well, I'm going to stick with the 8-horse senior investment, but I will also say the 6, looking at Lee, couldn't look any better, and to me, maybe he's a horse that's just thrived on a workload. How about you, Maggie? All
right, I think I like Irish War Cry. I've stuck by his side. We'll see if he puts in one of his good efforts. He is the post-time favorite. Gonna use a little J Boys Echo underneath. I think he could get a piece of this, as we are just minutes out from the 149th running of the Belmont Stakes. Best of luck, everybody. Larry Colmus will be up with the call.
The horses are now approaching the starting gate. The horses have now reached the starting gate. It's post time for the Belmont Stakes. Twisted Tom and Looking at Lee take their positions first. Here is Tapwrit. Irish War Cry, the 3-1 favorite. Gormley moving into line. Here is Senior Investment and J Boys Echo. Hollywood Handsome and Meantime. Waiting for Multiplier and Patch. And here is Multiplier taking his spot in the starting gate under Joel Rosario and the one-eyed Patch and John Velasquez are coming up to the outside stall. They're all in line. Ready for the start. They're off in the Belmont Stakes. Irish War Cry and Tapwrit had very good beginnings, and Meantime is sent along on the outside of them to show early speed. These three will take them into the first turn. Twisted Tom is away running in fourth. And then it's Gormley, J Boys Echo, Patch, and Senior Investment. Multiplier on the outside of Looking at Lee and Hollywood Handsome in a bite of a tight spot there. Oh, he had to steady Hollywood Handsome in early traffic trouble on that first turn. Looks like the rider's out of the irons on him. The first quarter was 23.88 seconds. That is a fast pace here in the Belmont Stakes, and Meantime is on the outside of Irish War Cry. These two are stride for stride on the lead. And again, Hollywood Handsome and Florent Giroux lost his irons, and they are going past horses on the far outside, but he's got no control here, and he's up into third position as they go to the backstretch after a 48.66 half mile. And then it's Patch running about 2 lengths off the lead right now. And Multiplier on the outside. Tapwrit is down toward the rail. Gormley and J Boys Echo are there as you see Hollywood Handsome start to back out of the field. Senior Investment is on the outside of Twisted Tom, who's 6 lengths from the front. Then Looking at Lee. So they continue up the backstretch. Halfway home in the Belmont Stakes, 3/4 in 1 minute, 14.01 seconds. Irish War Cry and Rajiv Mirage, the comeback kid, on top here by a half a length. Mike Smith has Meantime on the outside second. In behind them, on the rail, is Tapwrit and Gormley to the outside. Patch is fifth as they make their way for the far turn. Robbie Alvarado asking more from J Boys Echo now. Then Senior Investment and Twisted Tom. Looking at Lee, rides the rail around the far turn here. Still 7 lengths behind Irish War Cry, who heads round the turn with a length lead. Meantime, starting to lose ground. Gormley and Tapwrit are within their runs now. They are third, and now second on the inside is Tapwrit heading after front-running Irish War Cry, and they're into the stretch. Irish War Cry turns for home with Tapwrit trying to run him down in the last furlong. The two of them are now a half length apart. They are clear of Gormley and Patch. It is Irish War Cry, and on the outside, Tapwrit. Tapwrit has taken the lead. Tapwrit and Irish War Cry come down to the line together. It is Tapwrit and Jose Ortiz in the Belmont Stakes. They have defeated Irish War Cry. Patch was third. Gormley was fourth in 2 minutes, 30.02 seconds. His brother won it last year. He did it today. Jose Ortiz, a gallant win on Tapwrit. Number 2, Tapwrit was first. Number 7, Irish War Cry was second. Number 12, Patch was third. And number 3, Gormley was fourth. Hold all tickets until it's official. There is a steward's inquiry into the run going into the first turn. Once again, the stewards will review the run into the first turn. A steward's inquiry. Hold all tickets.
Indeed, his first Triple Crown win. It's in the Belmont Stakes. You've got multiple leading rider titles here at Belmont and in New York, but you get your first Triple Crown win here in New York. What's that mean to you?
Unbelievable. Feeling that I can't explain. I'm very happy right now. Very happy for the owners, for Todd. I really appreciate they give me the opportunity, and I'm happy to here today that they can enjoy it.
Jose, you come from a family of jockeys. In fact, your brother Irad Ortiz Jr. was on the 6 looking at Lee. He gave you a hug galloping out afterwards. Does this feel like a win for the whole family?
Oh yeah, I mean he rode for his connection, but I'm sure he feels very happy for me like I did for him last year.
Could do no better than 6th in the Kentucky Derby. What made the difference today?
I mean the distance. I was sure that he could handle it, and great training job by Todd, and we really like him. We always like him. I always like him, and they always have a lot of faith on him. And today he showed up. I'm very happy.
I'm sure it was also a great ride. Congratulations, Jose. Let's check in with Eddie Olczyk.
The stewards will take no action on the inquiry. No action will be taken as a result of the stewards' inquiry. The result of the Belmont Stakes is official. 2-7-12-3. Returning to the winner's circle is Tapwrit. He's a 3-year-old gray or roan colt by Tapwrit out of Appealing Zophie by Successful Appeal. Owned by Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, Robert LaPenta and Bridlewood Farm. Tapwrit is trained by Todd Pletcher and was ridden to victory by Jose Ortiz. Tapwrit was bred in Kentucky by My Meadowview LLC. The exacta 2 and 7, 22.60. The double of 5 and 2, 207.75. The trifecta 2, 7, 12, $156. The dime super 2, 7, 12, 3, 224.30. The dollar pick 3, 9, 5 and 2, 987.50. And the 50-cent pick 4, 7, 9, 5 and 2, $3,010.50. The pick 6, all 6 winners paid $301,947. And 5 out of 6 paid $1,078.
of the New York Racing Association. Mike Del Giudice is the chairman of NYRA, and jointly, I guess maybe you, Mike, because you're closest to the trophy, will make the presentation to two of the thousands upon thousands of owners of Tapwrit.
Right. First, I want to thank all of racing fans for coming out today, and especially during this Belmont week, and congratulate the entire Eclipse team for putting together a great victory here today, exciting the entire crowd. And on behalf of Governor Andrew Cuomo and the New York Racing Association, I'd like to present you with our award for winning this year's race. Congratulations.
Aaron Wellman and Robert LaPenta, you will speak for the dozens and dozens, if not thousands and thousands, arrayed behind you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's a tremendous honor to win a race like this. All the credit goes to the horse. Without Tapwrit, none of us are here. Todd Pletcher and his crew. It's been a fantastic partnership. Mr. and Mrs. Malone of Bridlewood Farm have not been able to be here today, but I hope they're watching, and this wouldn't have happened without their support. Mr. LaPenta and his whole family are here. They've been good energy every step of the way. Our Eclipse partners, we're a partnership company, you know, and this is what we're in it for, to provide our partners with this type of experience. The Warden family, the Schneider family, the Peterson family, the Herrick family, and the Brinson family, and not to mention my business partner, Brian Spearman. So that's what this is all about, and we're just incredibly thrilled.
Only because we're pressed for time. You came close last year with Destin here at the Belmont, finished second. You won it with Datara in 2008, so you know the experience. Very briefly, before we go to Lafitte, congratulations, Bob.
Thank you so much. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm here with my family, friends, and we're in New York. Great!
And so is Lafitte. You got it.
Todd Pletcher, the epitome of the highs and lows in thoroughbred racing. Take us through the emotional roller coaster the last 5 weeks, winning a Derby, always dreaming. The disappointment, 8th place finish in the Preakness, always dreaming, and now the win in the Belmont.
Yeah, it's really an up and down business, and you know, this 5 weeks really simplifies just how much. You know, the Derby was unbelievable, the Preakness was disappointing, and then 3 weeks later he bounced back with a huge win. So it's been a great ride.
And how proud are you of Patch?
I thought Patch ran awesome. You know, he grounded out like we thought he would, and he stayed the mile and a half. I was really pleased with him.
Congratulations, Todd Pletcher, 3rd victory in the Belmont Stakes, a first for Jose Ortiz. Also have a very special presentation. Longines, the official watch and timekeeper of the Triple Crown, would like to make this presentation to the winning connections of the 149th Belmont Stakes. Mike?
Two races remain today. In the 12th race, there's exacta, trifecta, superfecta, and double wagering. Scratch numbers 8, Tis a Runner, 12, Bellamy Way, and 13, Southside Warrior. And in race 13, scratch 1, Australenka, part of an entry. Jose Ortiz rides 6, Do Share. Post time for the 12th race, 7:26. Again, 2 more races today, followed by the Andy Grammer concert. Stick around. They're all in line. Ready for the start. They're off in the Belmont Stakes. Irish War Cry and Tapwrit had very good beginnings, and meantime is sent along on the outside of them to show early speed. These 3 will take them into the first turn. Twisted Tom is away running in 4th. And then it's Gormley, J-Boys Echo, Patchen, Senior Investment. Multiplier on the outside of Looking at Lee, and Hollywood Handsome in a bite of a tight spot there. Oh, he had to steady Hollywood Handsome in early traffic trouble on that first turn. Looks like the rider's out of the irons on him. The first quarter was 23.88 seconds. That is a fast pace here in the Belmont Stakes, and meantime is on the outside of Irish War Cry. These 2 are stride for stride on the lead. And again, Hollywood Handsome and Florent Giroux lost his irons, and they are going past horses on the far outside, but he's got no control here, and he's up into 3rd position as they go to the backstretch after a 48.66 half mile. And then it's Patch running about 2 lengths off the lead right now. And Multiplier on the outside. Tapwrit is down toward the rail. Gormley and J-Boy's Echo are there as you see Hollywood Handsome start to back out of the field. Senior Investment is on the outside of Twisted Tom, who's 6 lengths from the front. Then looking at Lee. So they continue up the backstretch. Halfway home in the Belmont Stakes, 3/4 in 1 minute, 14.01 seconds. Irish War Cry and Rajiv Mirage, the comeback kid, on top here by a half a length. Mike Smith has Meantime on the outside second. In behind them, on the rail is Tapwrit and Gormley to the outside. Patch is 5th as they make their way for the far turn. Robbie Alvarado asking more from J-Boy's Echo now. Then Senior Investment and Twisted Tom. Looking at Lee, rides the rail around the far turn here. Still 7 lengths behind. Irish War Cry, who heads round the turn with a length lead. Meantime, starting to lose ground. Gormley and Tapwrit are within their runs now. They are 3rd, and now 2nd on the inside is Tapwrit, heading after front-running Irish War Cry, and they're into the stretch. Irish War Cry turns for home with Tapwrit trying to run him down in the last furlong. The 2 of them are now a half length apart. They are clear of Gormley and Patch. It is Irish War Cry, and on the outside, Tapwrit. Tapwrit has taken the lead. Tapwrit and Irish War Cry come down to the line together. It is Tapwrit and Jose Ortiz in the Belmont Stakes. They have defeated Irish War Cry. Patch was 3rd. Gormley was 4th in 2 minutes, 30.02 seconds. His brother won it last year. He did it today. Jose Ortiz, a gallant win on Tapwrit.